going to be going over the syllabus today. So it'll kind of give you an idea on how the class is going to work. Anyway, I'd like to welcome you to Biology 1322, which is nutrition. My name is Heather Brazier. People normally call me Dr. B for short. You can see here that here is my phone number, and the first one is actually my office number here. So that's 281-290-2637. I'll be honest, I don't always check that all the time. It's a little antiquated. So if it's something that's more of an emergency, because I only check that every few days or so, you can text me. Here is my actual cell phone. And so don't call me because I don't answer any phone calls unless you're programmed in my phone. So I won't talk to you over the phone that way, but you can text me that way. And if it's something that requires a phone call, if it's during the week, I'll call you back on my regular phone number. If it's during a weekend, I prefer just to communicate back and forth by text. Just remember that the standard communicating times is 24 hours during the week, and then Friday mid-afternoon. I will typically, it depends on the situation, but by Lone Star standards, I'm not required to answer over the weekend until Monday morning. Doesn't mean I won't, but just keep those standard contact rules in mind. Now, you don't just have to message me through or contact me through my office phone. You can also, if you look down here, this is my email communication. It's heather.l.brazier@lonestar.edu. But I recommend or explicitly tell you, just contact me if you're going to email me through D2L. I'm not doing this because I'm this horrible, terrible person. The difference is, as you probably know, if you go into your Lone Star account, I get hundreds of emails a day from vendors and from the system itself and from bosses and yada, yada, yada. And sometimes messages get lost. So if you do it through D2L, I check that constantly. And the only stuff that I'm getting through there are my student messages. So it's really easy for me to go and see, okay, I have 4 messages. I know when I have 4 messages, they're all from students, versus you could end up in my spam. That happens all the time. I used to have a kind of this phantom email account that stuff would go into. So this by far is the best means of communicating. Now, during my office hours, you can see here, they are Tuesday and Wednesdays from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. And then Thursdays, 9 to 9:30. There's an hour break, and then 10:30 to 11. That hour break, I'm actually in a Phi Theta Kappa meeting, so I can be found, but unless it's an emergency, and by emergency, it's something that just happened last minute, and there's nothing that you could have done to make sure that it wasn't a last minute issue, they can find me. They know where I am, but I have a meeting, so that's essentially my first obligation there. But if it's something that you need during that time and it's an emergency, I can be found. But then after, from 10:30 to 11, you can find me again. My office is in the Center for Science and Innovation. That short is CSI, and that's on the 2nd floor, room 214. There's a suite. If you go up the stairs, when you get to the top of the that first set of stairs, take a right, and you just go all the way around the corner and keep hitting, and you'll see an office there, and it's towards the right, and you just walk through, and that's where all the biology and even one chemistry professor, where we are located. Now, this is Biology 1322 Nutrition, and it should be course section 2001. This is an 8-week class. The whole semester is 16 weeks, so it'll be for the first half of the semester. And we will be actually meeting in CSI 232. So realize that that has changed. So please make sure that you're coming to the Center for Science and Innovation versus the main University Park building. We will be meeting on Wednesdays from 11:15 to 2:15. So 11:15 in the morning to 2:15 in the afternoon. So that is half, and the other one is online. So I would like to stress to you that this is a hybrid course, which means half of the class we are going to be spending in the class talking back and forth, and then half of it you're going to be spending at home. And so the stuff that you're doing at home are going to be doing modules and quizzes at home that cover the lecture material in the book. And then basically what we're going to do, there's two main parts to this class that we're going to work on. There are discussions that are going to happen in the class. And these discussions are going to have a little bit of homework that you take home before. Then we're going to actually watch a movie in class. And then once the movie is done, then we're going to have a series of discussions in the class itself. And then you're going to write a quick synopsis and turn that in for it. So we're going to do that for about the first, basically week 2 through like week 6 or something like that. And then the last 3 weeks or so, we're going to actually be working on a project in class that's going to present some topic that's relevant to nutrition or a book. Now, when I talk about relevant to nutrition, that doesn't mean you have to do something that is specifically like, I want to talk about diabetes. You could talk about how our food is made, or, how the government enforces or tries to give suggestions on dietary regulations and things. So any of those are open game, and you're going to get time in the classroom to actually work on some of this, and then you'll finalize it at home. So please keep in mind there's going to be stuff due weekly at home that you are going to have to do. Sorry, my little Apple Pen just puttered out on me, and it's not there. Come on. There. Sorry about that. And so you can go into the Lone Star catalog to get an idea of what this class is, but basically we're going to be learning about the fundamental principles of normal nutrition and the importance of nutrition in promoting things like growth and health, right? And so we're going to be hitting on a lot of things throughout, and these are the main points of discussion that we're going to be talking about. Now, we are going to be using both your Desire to Learn, your D2L account that's through the college, and this program through your book called Mastering Nutrition. And so you'll be able to you'll need to get access for both of those. Now, the book that you'll need is Nutrition in You through Pearson. The editor is Blake, and this is the modified version. And so you have to get it with My Diet Analysis. And so if you get it with the e-text, that's fine. Now, you can get it without the text if you have a hard copy of the book. But I would suggest that you get it with the actual textbook so that you can read in case you aren't quite sure about certain things. And so you can buy it through the online. You can buy it at the bookstore. You can rent it. However you get it is fine. Just realize that you also have to buy the online homework component. You can't just get the book. Now, this explains how you can register for the class. Some of you have already done this, and that's absolutely great. If you haven't, then you want to at least do it on the first day. I do give you time within the syllabus to get this done. It's the first day or so. So you can wait to get this done then. It's not a problem. But this is essentially how you're going to do it. You can log in. I'm going to have a mastering code that is going to be specific for your class. And then you'll be able to get in and work on the stuff that you need to do. So just realize with this, this class that there's two components to it. I'm going to have everything set up in D2L. That will tell you basically, this is the chapter that you need to work on. Here are the PowerPoints if you like to review those. You need to do this homework, and this homework. And then you can go to mastering to actually do the work. And then sometimes some of this, like you're going to have a project that you're going to analyze what you eat over a 3-day period. You're going to have to make that in the actual course, and then you're going to have to upload the reports into D2L. So you are going to be using two back and forth, but I'm going to provide the links within D2L so it's easy for you to get to this course. Now, attendance policies. You kind of have two, right? Because it's a hybrid course. So you're required to come to every class that we have. And you need to be there on time. If you come in late, after a certain amount of time, you're considered absent. So let's focus on absence policy first. So essentially, you're required to log in at least 2 times a week. Now, let me just put a little disclaimer. If you finish everything you need to in your first login, I don't really care, right? You can just log in 1 time. Now, most of the time, people are going to need to log in more than once because you might need to upload stuff, or you might want to look if, I'm going to be sending like different messages to you. So chances are you're going to log in more than once. But if you get all your work done in your first login, you don't have to worry about it. Now, I really say you're expected to log in at least twice a week and participate. And basically during that time, you should finish all your required assessments and assignments. So it follows basically the same attendance policy that you would have if you were taking this face-to-face. Just to realize, if you were taking this face-to-face, right, if you look on this first page, it says that your credit hours that you're getting are 3 credit hours. And if you were in a 16-hour course, that's a total of 48. Now, you're not in a 16-hour course, 16-week course. You're in an 8-week course. So you would be expected to meet with me 6 hours a week, right? And so as you notice, we only meet 3 hours. So 3 hours of the week, you and I are going to have these discussions and work on these projects and actually have a pretty good time. I really enjoy teaching this course. And then the other 3 hours, you're going to prep for these films, because the films that we watch, and it depends on, you get as much out of this as you kind of put in, the way that I feel. They're going to be kind of these modern nutrition movies. And modern, I mean anything from the early 2000s to current. So a lot has changed in the past 20 years. But you would be surprised a lot of the misconceptions people still have about nutrition. And it's also neat to look at things in terms of a historical view. Versus, okay, this movie may have come out in 2006. Let's look at how things are similar. How are they different? And there are all these new movies that come out all the time based on nutrition. And my big thing that I like to look at is, okay, guys, let's watch this film. Is this film, actually relevant? Is it telling you the truth? Is it backed in real hard science? So these people made this movie. Do they have any other affiliations? Is veganism really the best option for you? Or are these people trying to push another agenda? Juicing. Or is juicing the best thing? Is it really going to be a healthy way to lose weight? Or do these people have another agenda? Right? These are the kind of questions that we can discuss, and we're going to pry into a little bit this semester. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun. At least I really enjoy it, and I've had students in the past enjoy it. So that's what we're going to do one-on-one in class. But in order for us to be able to look at those topics, you have to have some basis of understanding, which is what the online part is. The online part gets us into, you going through the book and doing some of these modules to ask you questions, to teach you about nutritional concepts that we then can apply to the class. So this isn't a hardcore biochemistry class. My PhD is in biochemistry and I absolutely love it. But that's not what this course is. This course is going to be more kind of for allied health or health professionals, and more of a kind of, you would like to say, practical class, where if you happen to want to be a dietitian or something in that nature, it would be kind of like an introductory into that type of nutrition versus the hardcore chemistry side of that. And so that's the reason why I went to tell you about that, which is why the attendance is so important. You have to go and sign in online for these courses. At the same point, you have to come to class because there's a big part of the class that is rooted, or your grade is rooted in discussion. So you have to be there at the beginning for me to give you the instructions. You have to be there for me to stamp that you've done your homework. And then, you have to be there for the entirety of the movie so that we can actually discuss it. If you aren't doing your assignments, you're not completing them, that's considered lack of academic progress, and you will be withdrawn from the class. But the only way that I'll do this is if I've contacted you first. So if you've not gotten an email from me through D2L, do not expect that I'm going to withdraw you. I'm not just going to out of nowhere withdraw you, right? So if you just stop coming to class and I never email you, you're going to get an F, right? But what I'm going to do is I'm going to look and see, for the most part, what I'm going to try to do is see, hey, let's see, are they coming to class? Are they doing this? And then if I see that you stop coming to class, I will email you and say, you're in jeopardy of being dropped. What are you going to do? These are your options. And then if I don't hear anything back from you, you will be dropped. So that's how the drop works in this class. And you can look through the course catalog to get some idea of how that works. Now, tardies. You're considered absent after 20 minutes. Because after 20 minutes, I'm going to give you all the instructions on how everything works. And we're going to talk really quick about the movie that we're going to look at. And then we've already started the movie. So you're going to miss, because I'm only going to talk at the beginning of each class for maybe about 15 minutes. I'm going to get there. And as people come in, I'll look to see if you've done your pre-discussion homework. I'll stamp it if you've done it. If you arrive late, don't expect me to stamp your stuff. I mean, that's a part that you would get points taken off for, right? And then we're going to get started. And so you're going to miss part of the movie. So please try to get there on time. Now, that doesn't mean if there's an emergency, you have my phone number, text me. Let me know. Dr. Brazier, I'm going to be 15 minutes late. There's a wreck on the way here. It's really bad, and I've been sitting here, and I'm not going to get there on time. That's completely understandable. I can be flexible on this. Dr. Brazier, something happened. I have to go pick up my kid really quick, take him here, and then I'm going to be in. It normally doesn't happen. I'm so sorry. I'll be there. Totally understand. Dr. Brazier, my car broke down. I'm getting an Uber now, right? I'll just give you an example. I mean, I've been late for stuff for work, but I've never not come to work because my car broke down. I've even Ubered here. And I understand if you live far away, that's kind of really hard, right? But with that being said, you're a few minutes late because you had to go get a new battery. You had to do this. You had to do that. Totally understandable, right? All of those situations aren't going to happen every single day of the class. If they happen every single day of the class, then that's when I'm going to be like, I'm going to sympathize. I'm going to say, yes, get here when you can. But I'm not going to be accommodating over a certain amount of time, right? So just realize that I understand everybody has those days that are just not going for them. Just don't make it habitual. Don't make it happen constantly all the time, over and over and over again. Now, if you know you're going to be late, and even if it's over 20 minutes, I'd still tell you to come. Why? Because we're going to have a discussion, and you're going to have to talk a couple times every single day. And if you're not there to communicate, you're not going to get your points for that. So you'll want to come even if you're considered tardy or late, right? And then at the end of the class, you're going to turn in all the work that you've done. And then I'm going to give you new homework for the next class, right? Because all of this is about, and it's not hard homework, guys. I'm going to give you a few questions that I want you to check out before we watch these movies, so that you can already have some things in mind when you come into the class, right? So if you want to get access to that, the then you're going to want to come into class. Now, if you have an emergency that you have to miss, if you give me some kind of note or something of that nature that says, this is the reason why I was late, or if you have to miss because your kid's sick or this or that, that's always understandable. I always give everybody one pass, right? But if you're constantly doing it, then I'm going to be less likely to help. So if you miss stuff, I would suggest, get it from somebody in your class. So make friends with people next to you, right? And you're always willing to ask me the first time. But don't make it a habitual thing. But this thing is, in order to get that homework, you have to come to class for the next one. That face-to-face homework, I'm not putting online. So keep that in mind. So how is the grade broken down? Well, your grade is worth, or your total semester, you can accumulate 1,000 points, right? Now, they're going to be weekly quizzes. And there will be 15 quizzes for this semester, and each one of those are worth 25 points. So that's a total of 350, right? Now, because I want you to learn things from this, right? I want it to be basically that you are using your book to look up answers and learning things. These are going to basically have a lockdown browser for them. I mean, these are going to be timed, right? Actually, no, I won't time them. What I want you to do, though, is use your book. Don't just copy and paste off the internet, right? Actually use your book to search for the material, because then you're going to actually learn them. And you'll want to go through and kind of study before you open them, because sometimes they're going to be calculation problems. And these are not things you're going to be able to cut and paste and find on the internet, right? Some are going to be multiple choice. That's easy. But matching, where there's several different possibilities, those are going to be a little bit harder. So the topics for these are going to be basically related to chapters. So quiz 1 is, what is nutrition? Quiz 2 is tools for healthy eating. And you can go down and you can see that there are 15 quizzes you're going to be taking, right? Now, for this, the sum of the 14 highest quizzes will actually be assigned. And this will be basically your quiz grade, homework quiz grade, right? And so one of the quizzes will be dropped. Now, they're due at 11:59 Sunday, the week that they are assigned. So there is no additional time that will be provided. Now, look at the syllabus, because the first 2 weeks are a little bit different, because I know people are still trying to finish their financial aid and get money for everything. So those due dates are a little bit different. So please see the schedule for due dates that differ. Now, the mastering study modules, there's 15 modules, and these are the ones that are going to be more of the homework, where you go through, and it's not based on if you get things right or not, which is what the quizzes are. It's based on whether or not you just complete it. So, and it's going to ask you basically how well you understand this stuff, right? And so the sum of the 15 grades from the Mastering Nutrition Study module is the module grade. And these again are due at 11:59 on Sunday. And just note, the first couple weeks are different and no additional time will be provided. So every week you're going to have something due. Now, they're all open at the beginning of the semester. As soon as courses open, you're free to start working on them, right? So that's why there's no extension. In the first 2 weeks, I'm flexible. I make the first 2 weeks stuff due all at the end of the second week, in case you come in late, you register a few days late, you didn't have the money the first week, but realize after that, there are no more extensions. There will be 5 graded in-class discussion sessions, which are going to partake active participation. And there's going to be both verbal and written communications in the discussion that are required, right? So this is going to be worth 150 points here. And so I'll be monitoring and facilitating the discussion and asking questions. And basically, I'm hoping everybody just takes what one person says, and you can disagree with them, right? Civil discourse is an amazing thing. What that means is being able to communicate in a room with each other. Now, social media has changed how people go around civil discourse, which means sometimes people have started, well, initially, right? You behave on the internet differently than you behave in real life. You'll say things to people in a computer forum that you would never say face to face initially. And what's happened over time is that people get used to being disrespectful and rude on the internet because there are no repercussions there. And even if they were, then you can just click and ignore, right? Well, in a face-to-face classroom, that is not the case. When you say something ugly to the person that's across the room, or you basically disregard either their facts or their opinion in a rude manner, there are repercussions to that. And the repercussions in my classroom is that I won't tolerate it. I'll warn you the first time and say, that's not appropriate here. We're not going to interact that way. I understand that you're passionate about what you believe, but passion always must keep the brain intact, right? And we're not going to act that way. No one's going to feel uncomfortable in my classroom. Now, if you do it the second time, I'm just going to kick you out and you will get a 0 for the day. With that being said, I don't want you to think that diverse views are not encouraged. They absolutely are. And I'm hoping within the course of this, right, that we'll get an idea or be able to differentiate between a fact and an opinion. They are not the same thing, right? Sometimes an opinion or a fact and opinion can overlap. But there are times that opinions are not facts, right? And so I'm hoping that you can learn this if you don't already know. And I'm not trying to say that you don't know that. But sometimes I've noticed, even with people of my age or older, right? The spectrum that people get those confused. So that's something that I feel like these kind of discussions will help for. And we also don't want to get tangential. We don't want to go off in left field. So I'll bring that topic back. But I think these will be a lot of fun and we'll learn a little bit of it. Last semester, I actually had a student that took the class and we watched a movie and he went to go home and talk to his parents about it, which to me, I've kind of done my job. I've excited somebody enough for them to go out and say, this is what we've talked about in class today and this is what I've learned. And he went to go talk to his parents about this movie that he had watched. Well, come to find out, his parents had actually watched that movie quite a few years beforehand, and they actually changed their diet because of the movie. And then he was able to discuss to them in a very enlightened and factual way, some of the decisions they've made and whether they were good or bad. I'm not going to open up if that's one of the movies that we end up watching or not. But he said his parents, it just blew their mind, and that he was actually able to tell them information that they didn't know beforehand. And so to me, he's been able to go out and apply it and also change people in a positive manner. So that's an absolutely great feeling. Now, on top of just learning about these random topics, or not really random, but like if you learn about carbohydrates or you learn about fats or lipids, right? Proteins, all of that's great. But a big part of this class is being able to take these concepts that you're learning and then looking at your life through that, basically, that view lens, right? And so we're going to do a dietary analysis project. And this, I'm going to tell you, is due within the first couple weeks of class. So you basically have 2 weekends. The first 2 weekends of class, sorry about this, guys. You need to do this. And it has to be a 3-day food. So it can either be a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, or Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, right? It has to have 3 consecutive days, and within them, 1 day has to be a weekend, right? And in this, you're going to record your portion size, the amount you ate. You're going to be honest. You're not getting an A because you eat great, right? You're not getting an F if the only thing you eat is McDonald's the whole week, right? That's not what this is about. This is about looking and saying, okay, this is what my diet is like right now. And this is either I'm doing amazing, I'm getting all of these, not just energy nutrients like carbohydrates, fats, and lipids, but you're going to be looking at like fat soluble and insoluble vitamins, minerals. Can my body function well and efficient on these, right? Or is this why I keep getting sick all the time? Because my body doesn't have what it needs to work at its peak performance. Or, I'm working so hard to get in shape for this Ironman or the sprint triathlon, but I feel like I am just exhausted and I don't have enough energy to actually get through my runs in the day, or I am not, building the muscle I want. It could be your diet, right? So much of that is very much rested on your diet. So you're going to do that, and this is going to be worth a total of 200 points. That's 20% of your grade, right? And you're going to do this whole thing where you can write it down or you can put it straight into a tracker. And then you're going to put all this information into the program that's within this nutrition book called My Diet Analysis Software. And basically what's going to happen is you put that in, and then at the end of putting it all in, then you're going to generate where it says all reports. And you're going to make that into a PDF. And then you take that PDF and you input it into D2L so that I can look at it, right? And I can kind of assess it. And then so that is, you're going to do that during the introductory, basically assignment in My Dietary Analysis. It tells you, and basically as you go through the setting up your login and all of this, it's going to basically help and ask you questions along the way on how you're doing it. So that's the very first one. And then once you finish that, you submit that PDF. Then you use that PDF that you've already made to do all the other modules, okay? You don't have to redo it again. And so it's going to allow you to look at how you're eating and, what kind of movement you have and everything else and portion size so that you can get a good idea of what you're bringing in every day. This 3-day food diary report that you generate in My Diet Analysis is worth 110 points. And then you have the self-study question sets that are going to be, there's 9 other ones, and they're worth 10 points each. So the completed project is worth 200 points. And then you're going to have a final exam, and to get prepared for this, if you just look through all of your quizzes, it's going to help you with that, and that's worth 150 points. And then you have this final project we're going to be doing in the class, which is a GIS presentation, and that's going to be worth 50 of the 100 points. Now, there's no makeup policy for the Mastering Dynamic Study modules, the semester quizzes, any of this, because you have so many weeks. It's not like I've designed all my online classes that I try to make it, unless it's a new prep where I'm, doing completely new course or new book or whatever, I try to make it so that the entire course is opened and finished on the first day. So if you wanted to get done with the online component of this class within 2 or 3 weeks, you could do that. I'm not going to limit how fast you can do your class, right? Now, the face-to-face stuff, it's limited because you have to come to class. We can't make that any faster. But the online stuff you can do as fast as you want. They just have end dates. So because I give you so much time to do it and that you can get ahead, I don't do extensions, right? It just makes sense to me. If I did, I took a finance course one time at Lone Star, and the professor would each unit would open for just 1 week, right? That made it a lot harder because if, 1 week I had all this time and I could get tons of stuff done, the next week I might be going out of town for a conference and have 3 or 4 things I had to do during the week because it was crazy busy. And, it might be harder for me to do stuff this week. And so in a case like that, I would be a little bit more accommodating. But in here, you can get done and ahead so easily that I don't really feel that that's a problem that I've seen with a lot of students. And with the dietary analysis project, you really need to get that first part done, because you need the first part to do everything after that. And that will essentially be, you'll need to get that done within the first few weeks of class, or the first half of class. And so this basically shows you how all the different percentages and points are. So 25 points times 14 is 350. That's 35% of the class. This is worth 115, which is 15. This is worth the discussions, 150 points. Think that's 15% of the class by you coming, doing that small homework before you get there, and talking about the movie. The dietary analysis project is 20%. And then the comprehensive exam plus the GIS project is worth 150 points. 50 is the GIS, 100 is the exam, for a total of 100% or 1,000 points. It's based on points, guys. So the points to get an A is 900 to 1,000. Points for B is 800 to 899. C is 700 to 799. 600 to 699 is a D, and under 600 is an F. If you have, say, 899.99999, you have a B. I do give a small amount of extra credit throughout the semester. Don't bank on it, because it's not tons, but it's worth a lot more than rounding up, right? If I give you an extra credit assignment that's worth 5 points, that is worth more than rounding up 0.5, right? So with that being said, that's how I do in lieu of actually rounding up. So just a reminder, instructors do not give grades. I just assign them. I've given you a set of assessments that I've put together that I think are good at helping you understand the topic. You get grades by what you earn on those assessments. So don't expect a curve. I never have to curve, guys. And don't expect that it'll be rounded up. And just remember, your final grade is going to reflect how you've worked all semester long. And basically, just because you show up every day doesn't mean that you're truly giving the effort for an A. Unfortunately, effort does not always give you the grade that you want. I can attest to that. There were times that I would make A's in classes that I just would show up for because I was just naturally good at them. And then there were classes that I worked my butt off for a C. And they just happened, right? So keep that in mind, that your grade reflects a combination of how hard you've worked, but more so what effort you've put into learning the material, not just the effort of doing it. So withdraw from the course after the official day of record and prior to the W day, will result in the final grade of a W. So once we have the official day of recording, which is on your syllabus, if you withdraw before that day, it's like you were never in my class. But if you stay in after that day through the final W day, then it shows that you were in my class and you'll get a W. The rest of this, I'm going to go and just kind of go through it really quick. Just remember the 6-drop rule. After 6 W's from 6 courses, including courses that are transfer students have previously dropped at other Texas public institutions that have already counted against them. After that, you will be paying out-of-state tuition, so keep that in mind. There's plenty of tutoring available. You can call this phone number for info on hours and locations. You can also go to the Learning Center in Building 12 on the 8th floor. If you feel like you're being overwhelmed and having difficulty with academic issues, personal issues, selection of career planning. If you need some help with some kind of accommodations because of a disability or any kind of personal issues, you can contact counseling at this phone number, and you can also look at this building to get that information. If you need any kind of help converting text to speech, magnifying items, converting to Braille, or any of those kind of problems or issues, you can go to the Assistant Technology Lab and get help there. The library is on the 8th floor in Building 12 that you can help with getting access to books or even help there. I'm really big on academic integrity, which means don't lie, don't steal, don't cheat, and we'll be fine. The consequences of academic dishonesty are determined by me, the professor, or the professor in combination with the academic dean, or the professor and the chief student success officers. So what you should look at here is in every single one of these circumstances, it doesn't say that somebody besides the professor is going to determine what's going to happen if you cheat in my class, right? At every stage of the game, I get my information or input or my okay on it, right? So you're not going to be able to go and talk to somebody else and get out of it without them ever contacting me, right? So keep that in mind. And I can choose to do one or all of these in the sense of you can get additional class requirements imposed on you. You can receive a grade of 0 or F for exam or an assignment. You can receive a grade of F for the actual course. You can be withdrawn from the course or the program if you're in a program. You can actually be expelled from the college system. And this, guys, gets put on your official record. It's awful. And so just don't do it. If you're having problems with understanding the material, staying abreast on completing things, understanding things, come ask me for help. Come to my office. Or I can do a virtual tutoring, right? Or virtual office hours. All of those are available to you. It's not a problem for me to help you. But I will not allow students to cheat and use somebody else's brain to do it, right? I remember at University of Houston, when I was teaching there, one of the labs, somebody turned in a paper and I ran it through turnitin.com, which is a plagiarism system. And 2 papers came up that were exactly the same. The student in my class had actually asked their friend if they could look at their paper so they could get a good idea of what their paper looked like. And what they did was they copied and pasted. Well, they didn't even copy and paste. They changed the name and they turned it in as theirs. So both students got charges filed upon them. And they actually had to go through a court case with peers and faculty members to basically put together a case of their innocence. And the poor guy that did nothing but try to help a friend out had to go through the same thing as well. So the moral of the story is A, don't cheat, and also be very careful who you give your academic papers and assignments to, because you never know what they're going to do with them, even if they're your friend. That doesn't mean don't help people, just always be there when you're helping them. If you need accommodations because you're American with disabilities, or this is the Americans with Disabilities Act Statement, right? If you are 504 or if you need any help with that, you need to contact the disability services and they will provide you what you need to do that. And then they will later come and actually you will submit the proper paperwork. I have no control over any of that. You have to go through them, and then you have your case worker or the counselor will actually provide what you need to give to me. And then I have to sign it and send it back to them. So it's an official multi-leveled basically process. We are very committed to maintaining safety So you can look at the safety agreement there and register at this link to receive emergency notifications. You can contact the police at 5911 in case of an emergency. The college has very aggressive antivirus procedures in place to protect computers, but it can't guarantee that a virus won't temporarily infect one of the machines. So it's your responsibility to protect all computers under your control at all times. We are an equal opportunity employer, admissioner, and educational institution. FERPA. Don't have anybody call me that's not you asking about your grades. This includes and is not limited to parents, spouses, children, great-grandparents, or aunts and uncles. I will not answer any questions. They can call and get an authorization to release student information form, but I'm still not going to really talk to them. I'm going to refer them to someone who can actually help them, like my dean or someone that's over in admissions and records. Because, not because I'm trying to make your life hard or anything else, it's because of the liability issues with it and the fact that it's really easy for someone to fill this stuff out and kind of fraudulently. So just to let you know, I will not answer anybody but you, and that's why I like the emails to be directed through D2L. We have computers and internet available on campus, right? And try to keep those related to educational or system-related activities only. Don't give unauthorized copies of software to anybody. And at the end of the semester, you'll get the chance to evaluate me. So here is our tentative schedule, right? And as you can see, the week here is going to tell you the Monday that we start. So this first full week is here, right? And so we're going to cover chapters 1, what is nutrition? Chapter 2, tools for healthy eating. And class, we're going to go over the introduction to the course itself, right? You get out a little bit early that day so that you can start working on some of these things. So the Labor Day holiday is September 1st through 3rd. So you'll notice that there is nothing that is due that day except for the discussion posts. And the discussion posts are really easy, and that's because I'm actually giving you an extra day. I would have had it due on the last day of August, but I'm giving you a few days extra to be able to, for those people that don't get in right away, right? So this will tell you what's assigned and what's due, and everything's 11:59, right? So Introduction to Mastering Nutrition, this is due on August 31st. It's extra credit, right? And so that essentially is just showing you how to use the Mastering Nutrition program. Do the second, this is also extra credit, right? List 10 nutrition movies that you would like to watch. And they can be as old and as new as you want, right? And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to look through those and I'm going to get the ones that are most picked from all the students in the class. Then you have the Chapter 1 Dynamic Study modules. Those are the homework. They're due on the 9th. Chapter 1 quiz is due on the 9th. Chapter 2 Dynamic Study modules are due on the 9th. I'm sorry, that says 3rd, but it should be the 9th. Chapter 2 quiz is due on the 9th. So all of this, chapters 1 and 2, is due at the end of the second week. I made it due instead of the end of the first week to help you in case you register for the class late. And if you notice, on the second week, you have chapter 3 and 4. The same stuff due. So all of these, chapters 1 through 4, are due on September 9th, right? Now, on the 10th, which is the next day, you'll notice that I have all of these My Diet analysis. So your PDF of your dietary analysis that you've made through My Diet Analysis is due on D2L. The introduction that helps you create this is due on 9/10, and the My Plate and USDA food groups is due on 9/10. And the second week, it's basically talking about carbohydrates. And as you notice, each module will be due based on what chapters over here you're talking about. So the week after that, you'll notice that chapter 5 is about fats and chapter 6 is about proteins. So the dietary analysis you're going to look at for yourself is over fats and proteins. So that's going to work, right? Now, the first discussion is online because the only thing this is you making a video over over who you are, the things you want. And you can watch mine to get an idea of the stuff that you can put in there, right? And so that is discussion 1, and you post yours, and then you watch 3 other ones and you reply, which is the reason why I have this one due a little bit earlier, because I'm wanting people. You can't register after like Thursday or so for this class. And each week here, guys, I want you to put, you might be like, wow, this is crazy. This is a lot due the first week of class or the first 2 weeks. Each week is equal to 2 weeks in a regular semester, right? So basically, the first 2 weeks of this class is equivalent to you being in my regular nutrition class for a month. So that should help you understand why you have so much due, right? And so this first week, we're just going to talk a little bit about how the class is going to run. So I'm not going to have anything for you in terms of where things are. Because when we get into class itself, I'm going to show you this in the front of the classroom, okay? And you can take notes as we go through. And so that's what we're going to do the very first day of class. Now, at the end of that first day, I'm going to give you a single sheet or so of homework so that you can look and you're going to be ready and prepared for discussion 2. And discussion 2 in class, like I said, we're in there for 2 hours and 15 minutes, almost 3 hours. And what we're going to do in there is we're going to watch a movie. So any homework, it's only going to be a few questions, right? It's not going to be something that's absolutely terrible. But that homework basically is going to get you prepped with some stuff I want you to be able to look before you get into class, right? And so that is due there. Now, the official reporting day for this class is the 4th, which means after the 4th, if you withdraw before September 4th, it's like you weren't even in my class. If you wait till after September 4th, then anytime you withdraw after that, it will show up as a W, right? And so as you can go, every here tells you this is the Monday of the week, right? This is what you're going to do, the chapters we're covering and what we're doing in class. And these are all the things that are due online. And you can kind of go see. And so you have through September 24th that we have discussions. And then basically the last 3 weeks that we're in class, 2 weeks we're going to be working on that presentation GIS project. It's a global information system project, which means you're going to, if you've ever seen kind of maps that show you where high rates of diabetes are or obesity rates or these kind of things, it's going to be that. So we're going to do those projects, and then the last day of class, you're going to present to the whole class a PowerPoint on what you found. And then, of course, that Sunday is when your actual final is due. Now, can you do it before that Sunday? Yes, but I give you till that Sunday to do it. So this is your syllabus, and if you have any questions, just let me know. Other than that, can't wait to see you guys next week, and go Lions!